So with EKYC becoming essential for onboarding customers in digital payments, what role do you see TSTC playing in enabling a standardized national EKYC framework?
Thank you, Ashley. And want to recognize the uh, Minister Smith. Good evening, Mr. Smith, and welcome everyone. So for us at B-Mobile, EKYC for us is really akin to how we expand upon our life is on ethos. And what life is on means is that, put simply, every facet of your daily being, whatever you, whether you go to work, you go at home, you go to the bank, do a transaction, insurance company, you interface with someone or interface with technology in a way which could make your life easier. And for us, layering this EKYC platform onto our mobile phones, whether through the app and so forth, really is an extension of truly having life is on. So just imagine a day where you're at home, and whether it's a mobile technician or player, or even our sister companies, TNTech, WASA comes to your home to do a transaction, check your meter, to check a connection. And you can ask that one to go on their phone, and you can, with your phone, facial recognition, know that this is the technician that comes to your home, know the services that they have to come and do, and so forth. That's where we have to go as a nation, and we are very proud to leverage our technology, our infrastructure, our data, our connections to bring EKYC to life. So for us, it's really leveraging our people, our connections, and the technology backbone that we have in support of government, and in particular our partnership with the National Payment Company to really digitize and provide that enabling mechanism for EKYC.
Thank you, Kino. And again, I'd like to recognize the presence of Minister Dominic Smith, Minister of Public Administration and AI. And again, thank you as well. I know it's been a long day.
Thank you, thank you.
But we know it's been a long day, I'm not going to escape the difficult questions. So here you go. And again, that dovetails nicely into what Kino was speaking about with respect to knowing your customer, that type of thing, and the whole concept of AI. So my question to you is, with the shift to centralization and bringing government payments online, how do you see this impacting the way civil servants work and how they deliver service to the public?
Well, thanks for your question. And good night to your audience and everyone who has taken the time to be here. Special thanks to WiPay on WiDay, the Evolution 2025. As you know, I thought I was younger, but it seems my older colleague got here before me. So I don't know what sort of AI he was using, but safe to say, I'm happy to be here. With respect to your question, the public service, we're going through a process right now, as you know, of modernization. In particular, the merging of the Ministry of Digital Transformation and the Ministry of Public Administration really was the vision of the government to see how we can expedite, transform, and what I like to say is evolve the way in which the public service does business. And the real core and the genesis of that business is how do we serve the citizenry. So when we think about technology and transformative technology, I think that's the one thing that we want to keep at the heart of any service that we provide, which is how does the citizen benefit from the service? What are the pain points that we're trying to tackle? I think everyone here would have experienced some level of service using government services that they would have had a challenge with. And the goal of technology is to allow the technology to amplify, in many respects, the end result of that good or service in a positive way. And so we've gone through the process of assessing what was and what is, and in terms of the manifestation of that, we envision that through the use of technology and a lot of what you're saying there, it will, one, provide cost savings to the government, that's two, provide more efficient ways of doing repetitive tasks that now can be shorter lead time, shorter transaction costs, which again redounds to the benefit of the citizen. And of course, digitize as much as possible any service that the public can now interface with, and do so in an equitable manner. So all of the things that we're going to embark upon is really equity-based, leaving no one behind, and I think that is, in general, what you're trying to accomplish here as well.
So I have a general question for the panelists, but I'll keep Minister Smith on the floor, but I still ask the other panelists as well to give their input. So how do we ensure that digital transformation results in simpler, faster, and more intuitive experiences for citizens, not just digital versions of manual processes?
I think it's always important to look at the end first and then craft the destination based on the end that you're trying to accomplish. So one form of digitization, let's say we have a form and we want that form to be digitized. Naturally, the process is, okay, what are the entry points on that form? And then we create a UI, UX that sort of maps what that form is. So that is the digital evolution of going from paper-based system to a digital online-based system. How do we now transition and amplify the technology? Well, AI is a way in which we can do that. We can now learn quite quickly and in an accelerated way all of the forms. If I were to give use government as an example, all of the paper-based forms now can be digitized, and then you can establish learnings from across those digitized forms, and then you can use that data to then provide and look at what are useful ways in which the data can be used and insights can be drawn from that. And then moving forward, if you expound further, what are the practical applications across different ministries, different agencies, different departments? So it's not just about the digitization of physical items. I've used the example of forms, but it's also looking at smart ways in which the technology can be used to identify what are the core areas that we need to strategize and also to make more efficient. And then the end result of that is we've now used the technology to amplify things that we wouldn't have been able to do in the traditional system. So it's a mixed approach, but the outcome is always how you engineer this. You look at what the pain points are, similar to what private sector would do. They look at the problem and then they try to solve the problem. And technology is a good way in which we can accomplish that, AI being a tool that can obviously get to that end result in a lot more faster, more efficient, cost-reduced manner. Yeah.
Thank you, Minister. And I'll ask the same question to Mr. Julian. From the banking perspective, how do you see that? What's your perspective?
Yes, so actually, I think it's an excellent question, and I think it's a question that is weighing on everyone's mind here. Because at the end of the day, we have the technology and the tools, it exists. I think the mistake sometimes we make is that it's always easier to continue the legacy system, continue the easy, known way of doing something, versus, I think, taking the extra bold step of looking at it through the eyes of the customer. So I think the guiding light to your question is that it has to be the customer experience, and improving the customer experience has to be the yardstick that we use. Even if the old system used to work, is it the best way to do it? You know, there's a story that, you know, of the young lady who is cooking, and it's the festive season, so I'm going to use the festive story. She's cooking a ham for the first time, and she's watching her mom in the kitchen, and the mom cuts the ham in half, puts it in the oven, and lets it cook. So she asked the mom, why are we cutting the ham in half? And the mom said, but that's how we do it. That's how Granny taught me. So she went by Granny for all years and asked, well, Granny, why are we cutting the ham in half? Mom, Granny did the same thing. And Granny paused, scratched her head, and said, because the pot was too small. So sometimes we don't take the time to stop and ask ourselves if the way we're doing something is the best way to do it. So I think that's the starting point to get to the root of your question. But the other thing I would add that we have to consider is, besides speed, besides efficiency, is ensure that we build a system and a world for our customer that is safe, effortless, and secure, given all the challenges that surround us. Thanks.
Thanks for that, Jason. And Minister Swartz saying you straddle different ministries. So I guess it's even a huge challenge for you as well. So what is your perspective? If you want to ask the question again, or
I'm looking at the crowd here and my colleagues on stage, and it just dawned on me, you guys grew up in a time when cell phone and so on always existed. I was born in 1964. In the 80s, when pagers came out, man, that was a big thing. When you had a pager, woo. I mean, outside of being able to attract a certain type of person, pager was a big thing. I remember when cell phones came out, cell phones was like a phone booth. You don't realize how lucky you are today to have all of this technology available to you, to do things that we couldn't even dream and imagine when I was growing up. I mean, I went to primary school in the early 70s. I was in secondary school in 1975. You guys don't realize how technology has changed this world because you take it for granted. It's so easy for you. A cell phone today could do significantly more than, and now you have AI. We have to find ways now to regulate AI so that people do homework with AI. In my day, I had to go to a library and pull out books and research a book. So the world has already changed. The issue with us is that we have been slow to embrace that change. So when it comes to automating, we always say to automate bad practices. So we have to start thinking, what do we want this thing to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? We're no longer thinking about where things are now because the rate at which things are changing is so rapid. Every day there are new apps coming out that you're putting on your phone and you could do things significantly different than you were doing it yesterday. So I don't envy you guys. I am happy in the world I grew up in. But I could tell you that now the rate in which things are becoming much more available to us in ways in which that it has become based on the machines, the devices, the software, the technology that is available to us. If we don't embrace it, we're going to constantly find ourselves left behind. So not only do we need to adapt, not only do we have to change, is that the world itself is not waiting for us. Our citizens are demanding more. You have persons, for example, when it comes to virtual assets, the world has changed, whether we like it or not. And we have to now find the courage to not just embrace that change, but start planning and thinking and looking at what is outside there. When I lost my re-election bid in 2010, and I moved to Barbados, and I've been living there for 15 years, and from there I've worked all over the Caribbean. I didn't realize what a big space there was outside of Trinidad and Tobago because Trinidad was everything. All I knew was here. I'm saying all of this to say, therefore, it is a whole new, brave, wonderful world outside there. And technology is a great avenue and an enabler of that new frontier. So public service, private sector, I don't care where you are. It has, and it will change not just what we do, how we do it, how we engage with it, and whether we like it or not. It takes you into a place where strap on your seatbelts. There is an adventure coming, and you can decide whether you want to be part of it or you want to stand up in the side and look on and let it bypass you. So, the changes that is going to bring to the public service under my very bright colleague, Dominic Smith. I mean, just now, he won't have to be here. You go see an apparition and the AI will appear and whatever else. I doubt it could be as good looking as he is in person. But the point is that the things we are talking about now, the world is gone. So we just have to start to have the courage, have the fortitude to make those changes, to go with it, to automate the things we have to automate, to adapt the things we have to adapt. And for us in the public service, the big challenge is how do we bring bureaucracy along for that journey and to be able to touch the lives of the people we serve, the constituents who elected us, but also how we make Trinidad and Tobago much more efficient, much more effective, a place where people want to come, where there's greater ease of doing business. So technology is not a panacea, but it's an avenue and a gateway for us to make the kind of changes we need to make, because whether we like it or not, it's here.
Thank you, Minister. And I'm going to put each panelist on the spot to provide closing remarks in 20 seconds or less. What do you see as the immediate priority items to basically get us to what we call the promised land, a fully digitized state? So I'll pose that question first to Keno Cox and then John Outridge.
Thanks, Ashley. So for us, providing an enabling mechanism, an enabling environment to allow citizens to enjoy the benefits of digitization really comes down to a couple of things. One, people, the connections, data storage. We're a sovereign nation, we're below the Hurricane Belt. So for us, expanding data center services, ensuring that you can have safe, reliable storage of data on island is key to enable government's digitization trust. But for us also is also providing that technology backbone to John and his team, to Jason, to Orwin and his team, to ensure that these new technologies, the new innovation, what Minister Smith spoke about, AI and all these wonderful things that we see every day, and we are preparing ourselves to, there has to be a secure, cyber-secure storage and backbone that enables all this. So for us, it's very, very proud to be national provider of choice, to provide the backbone infrastructure, and of course, partner with these fantastic agencies. And again, I want to commend and recognize WiDay for a wonderful launch tonight, and just to continue that local innovation as we partner for excellence in Trinidad and Tobago as well. Yeah.
Thank you. And Mr. Outridge, 20 seconds or less.
Yeah, well, I just want to acknowledge the presence of my board because I watch anytime and they're out on a school night, so I just would like to say thank you for the support. But, listening to the panel on stage, I think to my right, this minister here, he has the hardest job because as a kind of thinking about the analogy, he's not really in the AI business, He's in the refrigeration business. And just allow me for a sec. Because what we kind of doing is resetting. We're no longer in transformation. We passed that. We're in a whole new ball game. His job now is to create refrigerators. Everybody's job in here now, particularly like our jobs and the startups in here, is to create solo Apple J. The products that could benefit from the refrigeration. So what you kind of see now is, how in terms of what the partnership is going to be like in terms of when government providing that foundation for the private sector to sort of build on. So I think that is where it's going to be different this time, where it's almost like it's starting from ground zero. So it's now Minister of Public Admin, Artificial Intelligence and Refrigeration. Because now we have to provide that sort of scale where people could build the products that could benefit on that sort of scale. So I think that is the most exciting part of what I'm seeing in terms of what needs to come now, particularly for the opportunities that we have.
Thank you very much, John. And I think if we had quite a bit of input, dialogue, which I think really augurs well when you see different aspects of governance from the government side, the private sector side, from the execution side, the banking side. So, I am extremely optimistic from what I've heard, what I've seen tonight. And I really want to extend a sincere thank you to the entire panel, in particular, Minister Swarat Singh and Minister Smith. I said, and you guys had a very long day, and you still felt it important that what we are doing here is such a pivotal point in the country's progress that you came to provide your input. So really appreciated you guys, and thank you very much, audience, and please give panelists a round of applause.